Hey Band Network Remote Teaching Series.
Welcome to the Hey Band Network. Today we have a special guest in our remote teaching series. We have Sharon Toulouse, Assistant Director of Bands at the University of Kansas. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to have you for so many reasons. One, I'm in Texas and you're Texas native.
Yes, I am.
Which is awesome. And so all our Texas friends down here will enjoy this. And so you deal with the concert band, you deal with the athletic bands, which we'll get into, also the Kansas basketball band that you lead, and then deal with some of the stuff you deal with the music ed department and the different concert bands.
Sure. Fresh out of college, I taught at a high school. I was the assistant director at Free State High School, actually here in Lawrence. And then I went and pursued a master's degree in conducting here at KU again. And I, from there, was offered a position with the Army bands. So I was an officer working active duty with military bands, which was a tremendous experience. Really grew as a musician and as a person, really grew up, period, through that time. In 2011, when I had my son, Timothy, my husband was a librarian with President's Own, and I was active duty Army, so it wasn't going to be a very conducive situation to stay active duty, so I transferred into the reserves. And in 2012, shortly after, the position of assistant director here at KU opened, and I jumped at that opportunity. Having done 2 degrees at KU, I bleed crimson and blue, love the university, love the program. So was completely thrilled and honored to be offered the position here. And I just love it. My colleagues are fantastic to work with, and it's a really great situation.
Who else is on the band staff there at KU?
The director of bands is Dr. Paul Popiel, and the associate director of bands is Dr. Matt Smith. Both of them, we've all been there about the same time. Matt's been there 1 more year than me, and Paul's been there two more years. So this is going into my 9th year, finishing the 8th year here. So we've had some good longevity with this staff. All 3 of us really get along great and support each other very well, and have the same ideas and concepts for where we want the program to go.
Fantastic. And let's talk about KU Band, the ensembles and the marching band, all the things that come with that program.
Sure. The concert programs, we have 3 concert ensembles. We have our Top Wind Ensemble, which is just an amazing group. They've done some high-end recordings, some fantastic premieres, performances at Kennedy Center, Carnegie Hall in the last few years. They were slated to go to Milan this fall, but that has since of all of this has been postponed a year at least to do some interactive work there. Brand new commission that's going to be a world premiere during that tour. So they're fantastic. Dr. Popiel has done tremendous things with that group. Dr. Matt Smith, he runs the symphonic band, which is our second group, auditioned group. They are also quite good. They're doing a tremendous job playing high quality literature as well, performances at KMEA and invitations like that. The third ensemble is University Band. I get to teach that. It's a great ensemble. A lot of music education students playing secondary instruments. I highly encourage students to just try something new. I think 1 year I had the entire clarinet section from the marching band decide to play trombone. That was interesting, but they did a great job. You know, we put on a performance and it was great. That is a not auditioned group, so students, mostly non-majors and students that want to just continue playing, you know, miss having that outlet and miss that musical opportunity. I even have a couple grad students that just want to play, a few community members that sit in and play both semesters. So we have a good time. We do some crazy stuff in there, try to keep it entertaining, try to keep them focused, and just give them a good experience musically during their career. So that's the concert side of things. Athletic bands, our marching band is loads of fun, lots of tradition. Our pregame is a very traditional, historic type of event. Currently, we're marching about 270, which is pretty darn good considering the status of our win-loss records over the last few years. But we're seeing a lot of potential and hope coming up and improvements in the program. So we're just excited to be a part of all that. So the marching band is doing very well. We're in the process of looking coordinating with some other entities on the campus to get a new practice field, which is super exciting. AstroTurf, shade and shelter and restrooms and lighting, all the stuff that is a marching band should have. So we're looking very excited towards those opportunities coming up here soon. Out of the marching band, we have our volleyball band, which honestly, it was one of the most fun pep bands that we have. Those guys have so much tradition, and they impact the game so much. Other teams actually scout the band. I had a coach once come over to me and say, we have to watch you guys because, we see what you guys do and you affect my players so much. And I tell my band that you guys do it right. You need to watch them and see how it's done. They are a hoot. It's hysterical. So they have a good time. We have about 100 students volunteer for that group. And so that's a good group to be a part of. And then we also have our basketball bands. As you probably know, KU is pretty well known for their basketball. So it's a very competitive group to be a part of. That is auditions out of the marching band. We have a bass guitar, we have a drum set. I want to add an electric guitar coming here in the future, if we can find some players that can really shred. But we are so fortunate to have such a great relationship with the athletics department. They love the band. They want more. They're always asking for more, just because they want us to be a part of it. They understand the tradition of college band in these types of environments. Just a couple years ago, last year actually, we expanded the number of players at men's home basketball games because they just wanted more. They wanted more students. They wanted more sound. So we have about 75 students that play at every men's game. In total, we have about 125, 130 students involved with those basketball bands. And then, of course, we travel with postseason and tournaments and Big 12 and things like that. So that's a really fun opportunity to be a part of all that. The athletic bands are just a blast. That's one of my favorite parts of my job, I have to say.
Very, very cool. And it's a lot of fun. I can speak from experience being in that.
It is.
But it's steeped in tradition and everything that comes with Kansas and Kansas basketball, like every university.
Yeah. We're very fortunate because I know other colleges, they don't get to play as much during the home games. And like I said, the athletics department, we are so fortunate that they really understand that college atmosphere of having the bands involved.
All right, so we're here to talk about how we're all surviving in remote teaching and campuses closed and shut down and classes going online. So kind of give us an idea of what the KU band program is doing at this time to keep students engaged.
Sure. I think we all had the same reaction as every teacher out there. Oh, crud, what are we going to do? An ensemble is not something you can really do virtually. So how do we continue, that engagement and interaction and give the students that outlet that they, desperately need in these times? I teach a conducting class, and how are we going to do that? So it took a while to kind of think through those processes. Each of us are doing it a little differently. The KU Wind Ensemble, our top ensemble, not only are they having to figure out what to do performance-wise, there are grad students who are conducting that need to have recitals. So recitals has been an interesting topic of concern, and what are we going to do? For them, the university has made some accommodations where they don't necessarily have to do a final recital. Like the Wind Ensemble, what Dr. Popeil has been doing with them is kind of giving out different lessons and assignments and listening opportunities. Here's a great work by, Holst, and why don't you listen to this, of this particular ensemble performing, so they can hear some great music. And just kind of compare and contrast what they're doing. I think there have been they did a video project where they recorded Home on the Range, which is one of our very traditional songs that we do here at KU all the time. And so they did a virtual video recording thing and put it all together, and they're all performing together virtually, which is really neat. Just went up on YouTube today. So yeah, so it's a neat project that they're doing. I did something similar with the basketball band. Since we are an actual class, I had them record Africano, which is another one of our kind of traditional songs that's been around forever. We're in the process of trying to work up a video montage of that one as well, but they're currently working on submitting those videos and things. So we're trying to get them playing, trying to keep them engaged. I think the Wind Ensemble is going to try to do another video collaboration like that again. There are different kind of writing assignments I think that they're doing, just listening and observing and evaluating and critiquing. And I know Dr. Smith is kind of doing something similar with the symphonic bands there. We were fortunate enough to have a few concerts already this semester. So each of us were kind of like, well, you've done enough for this semester for a 0 to 1 credit hour course. We're not requiring a ton of stuff for them to do. The private studios are doing Zoom lessons, weekly Zoom lessons. Of course, juries and stuff are completely out, but they're still working on the personal techniques and things. So which is good. My conducting class, I'm doing private lessons weekly with each of my students. I submit a video to them, kind of demonstrating a concept, and that I meet with them weekly and kind of work with them, one-on-one on that technique. And then they submit a video back to me that week, just demonstrating the concept that we've been working on. So we're all making huge adjustments. I know as the semester goes on, motivation is getting less and less, which is really hard to keep them motivated. I shoot emails to them weekly, 2 or 3 times a week, just checking on them to make sure they're okay. And there are a few students who aren't. A lot of them are really struggling with stress and managing the personal discipline of getting the work done on their own without that motivation of getting up and going to class. So it's a lot more work on their shoulders, and quite a few of them are struggling. So we just try to keep an eye on them. Other than that, we're planning for, we have a lot more time to plan for the future. We're already planning camp for summer. We're already, picking out music for marching band for next year, a bunch of things like that. So it gives us opportunity to do more planning and meetings and stuff like that for future endeavors.
This is the time of year where seniors are planning and usually graduating from high schools, getting ready for college.
Yeah.
And so it's like all these things start to go in play. How do you manage that? We probably have some high school directors that'll watch that. Like, how do they handle that at Kansas?
I know the university is actually very concerned about enrollment for next year, with the concern of just how their semester has ended as seniors. And our recruiting efforts have obviously been dwindled quite a bit. I'm usually out visiting schools quite a bit during contest season, large group festival, interacting, giving information about the school and the university. That didn't happen. And I know a lot of students are very concerned about, well, why should I spend so much money when this is all possible to do online? So there's lots of concerns, and the recent polls have said that a lot of students are not planning to come to college the next year. So encouraging students, yes, do continue. This is a weird thing. It's a weird year. The actual experience of going to college and being a part of those programs is valuable. It's extremely valuable. So I would just encourage the teachers, stay in touch with their students and encourage them to continue on. And in the music programs as well, you don't have to be a major to be a part and involved of these programs at all. Almost every university has that policy, and that's kind of a misunderstanding a lot of times is, I have to be a music major to be in any of these programs. Our top wind ensemble has a handful of non-majors in it. There's no restriction, no guidance, no limitations to that. So it is a concern as far as like what's happening next and enrollment for the fall. So don't let this freak you out and stop you from pursuing your dreams.
For sure.
Yeah.
Any new tricks or tools you've learned going through all of this?
Time management. The time management of I have a 9-year-old who is also doing school stuff. I'm also still in the reserves, Army Reserves, And, you know, I'm a commander of a band, an Army Reserve band. So taking care of 37 soldiers and making sure they're getting paid and are healthy and happy and, you know, mentally in a good place, as well as my own family. And now we're all home all the time, so the house is a mess, and I'm cooking a lot more dinners and making messes. So, you know, time management is a big thing. You know, relating with my son has also been an interesting challenge. Musically, something I've learned, that music is really important to the students. We all know that, but when you see how they're reacting right now, there are students who are just really desperate to have some sort of musical outlet. You know, comments like, I'm so, you know, thank you so much for sending out this CD, because I just miss being a part of an ensemble. I miss playing and interacting with the other musicians. So their passion is true. You know, not that we ever doubted it, but it really impacts them deeper than I think I really ever imagined. So still being a part and trying to get them involved and keep them involved in music is something I think I've learned of how important it actually is to them.
Very cool. Summer, you mentioned summer camps, virtual camp type stuff. Let's talk a little bit about that. What you all are planning at this point.
Yeah, we've been, one of the first things we started talking about when all this happened and campus being closed and online courses and how long this is going to progress, we immediately started thinking camp is just not going to, you know, an in-person camp is probably just not a feasible thing. One, financially for families, and two, just that, you know, that concern of, I'm sending my child to a university where there's lots of people from many other areas converging into one. I don't know that I want to send my child into that environment. So we started talking, doing a virtual music camp. KU has one of the longest running music camps in the country. We're, I think, 77, 78 years running. And so it was important to us to keep some sort of program going and give those students, again, another musical outlet and a way to encourage them to continue playing their instruments over the summer. So our format is going to be, quite a few of our studio professors are involved. They are going to be giving, it's free, first of all, it's going to be a free camp. And there's going to be links that you can connect to different sessions. Some of them will be interactive and live with you know, one of our studio professors, where you can type and ask questions and actually interact with the professor. Some of them may be recorded and just specific to your instrument, you know, specific concepts, ideas, practice techniques, a variety of different things. We are also super, super fortunate to work with a music store here in town, Meyer Music, and he has a fantastic program called Band of Angels. And they fundraise throughout the year and take donations, and they support students who financially just either can't buy their own instrument. So they provide brand new instruments to students who want to continue playing their instruments. And then they also sponsor students to attend camps. With this being a free camp this year, they've sent probably 30, 40 students each year to our camp, and just a huge supporter of music and keeping music involved in the students' lives. And so this year, and just talking with them about this virtual camp, they are going to sponsor also some well-known artists to come in and spend some lecture and interact with some of our students. Currently, he has, like, we have a saxophonist, George Shelby, who is from LA doing, he's been, you know, he's in the Grammys all the time. Another person named Imani, she's a singer-songwriter, composer, you know, the works. She's phenomenal. She's like 20 something. And so she's going to come on and talk about what she does, you know, music productions and how she writes songs and what the real world is like out there in the music world. The camp is also strings. And so we're going to try to bring in a group called Bella Strings to kind of talk about, they're from Vegas. They do a lot of electric string type stuff. They're phenomenal. So they're going to be able to talk and work with us. Kat Rodriguez is Beyonce's saxophone player. she's going to come on and spend some time with us at the camp as well. So we have some really neat opportunities for kids to come in and one, work with our studio and staff, learn a little bit more about your instrument, learn some other like theoretical ideas or history. We're still compiling a schedule of courses. And if you complete so many, sessions, we're going to send you a CD. We're going to send you like a sticker and a free T-shirt as well for the Midwest Music Camp, as part of all that. So it's going to be a neat opportunity, just to keep kids involved. There will be an option for private lessons as well, to sign up with a private lesson with your studio professor of your instrument, just like we would at a normal camp. So you'll have a virtual Zoom or some sort of virtual lesson with those studio professors as well. So we hope it at least sparks some interest and keeps kids involved in at least a little bit in some way over the summer.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Kansas basketball band.
Yes,
let's. So you lead the Kansas basketball band,
yes,
the director, and as those that don't follow college basketball, Kansas was the #1 team in the country when the college basketball season ended right before most of the tournaments had just started about for their conference tournaments at the end of the year. Yep. And so you lead this group. You've been there for several years running that, and I know you used to be a member of the group. What is special about the KU basketball band?
We have a lot of tradition. And again, I come back to the support of the athletics department. They want us involved, and they really see how we impact the game and impact the students. It has been, like I said, this is my 8th year here doing this, and the learning process of what our role is in a game has been interesting. I came in thinking I have to pump up the team. Gotta get the team. So all my songs and choices were energy and thinking about what am I going to do to pump up the team. And a couple years into it, the people that we work with, the marketing and fan experience department, we had a conversation. And they're like, look, we don't want you worrying about the team. Focus on the fans. The fans are what's going to pump up the team. And I'm like, you're right. The team doesn't listen to us. You're right. So that had to kind of shift my focus on what am I going to play that's going to impact the crowd. So I'm constantly throwing in new tunes of current pop stuff for that year. So it's a bigger cycle because, a tune may be only hot for a year or two. And then all of a sudden it's, been there, done that, heard that, don't want to hear it anymore. So staying current is one of the biggest challenges I have, I think, with the group. Still finding things that the crowd can interact with. I think that's the biggest part is getting crowd interaction. If you're just playing a song for yourself, that does nobody any good. It has to have impact with the students. Sweet Caroline, that's an oldie but a goodie. Lots of crowd interaction. In fact, one of the games this year, we were playing it and the TV announcers were like, wow, I can't believe that, the students actually still know this one. And, they actually commented on what we were playing, which was kind of cool. Usually they don't. So that's been one of the biggest challenges is just keeping the crowd interactive and picking the tunes. It's loads of fun, keeping the balance and keeping the students happy and involved. This new change to the bigger system, I think has really been beneficial, having everybody do some of the men's games, because the men's games are obviously, the bigger draw here at KU. Our women's team is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. They are great. But tournament travel has typically happened with the men's team. And so getting to those games is a little bit more, is exciting, and having everybody have that opportunity has really encouraged our numbers and improved those numbers quite a bit as well. So we're fortunate to be able to travel. So this year with they literally canceled the tournament the day before we were supposed to leave for the Big 12 tournament, which is here in Kansas City. So it didn't impact us too greatly. But I mean, we were raring and ready to go. And then, Big 12 tournament was done, and we weren't sure about the NCAA. And then that was done. I mean, it was, we were heartbroken. It was just one of the things we look forward to most throughout the season is, that tournament. And it was just so sudden, you kind of go through this withdrawal of no more basketball. Oh, no, you know, because it's so intense and just ramped up, and then it just stops. That's kind of a normal tournament run anyway, because you get ramped up, and then you lose and you're done for the rest of the year. So it is, but for it to happen so early like that and completely out of our control was very frustrating, and sad, you know, but totally understandable. And they made the right call, you know, as far as health goes and the safety of the public and the students, for sure. But it is a blast. It is loads of fun.
And does the band, once the season's over this year, you mentioned you're trying to put a recording together of that. Are there any other communications with the band? There's anything else that happens with them? Is that just kind of, the season's over? It's
pretty much, yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, we were able to make it a class for the spring semester about 2 or 3, 4 years ago, which has been very, very valuable. We meet once a week. I can throw new music at them. We can rehearse, clean up some of the stuff, talk through different things. We usually do a halftime show at one of the basketball games with everybody, so 130 students all on the court. So the first couple rehearsals in the spring are usually that. And then, of course, we have all the games in the fall and rehearsals in the fall. So our semester's just kind of shifted. You know, our semester kind of starts in October and ends in March versus January through May. So I ask so much of them to take them out of school. They miss a lot of school. And if they're willing, and if the professors are willing, of course. But they do miss quite a bit of school, and I ask a lot of the faculty and the students, so I don't push it and ask them to do more after the season. Occasionally we'll do some recordings, occasionally we'll do like some photo shoots, and we'll of course go into Allen Fieldhouse where we play our games and clean out all our equipment and everything. But there's usually 1 or 2 more meetings after the season is done, and then I let them go, let them focus on the rest of their semester and graduating or finals or whatever they have going on.
Awesome. And it's lots of tradition, as you say, and playing in that memorable field house in Lawrence is pretty special for anyone for that. Do you have any shout outs? We're getting towards the end. Do you have any shout outs you'd like to give?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of who all I know in Texas. Amanda Drinkwater is a KU grad. You know, she's, you know, kicking butt and taking names out there, I know. And my band director, Ferris Arnold, I know he's retired for a good amount of time now, but they're in Corpus Christi, Carroll High School. Woo-hoo, go Carroll. Phenomenal, you know, huge part of my life in giving me opportunities to get me where I am. You know, he was kind of one of the first sparks and supporters of me in my career. So thankful to him as well. And Mr. Pable, he was my middle school director at Tom Brown Middle School there in Corpus Christi. He also gave me some opportunities that no other. I was a 7th grader. I had been playing for like a year and a half or more, and they didn't start band until 7th grade. And he gave me the opportunity to go ahead and audition and play in one of the ensembles above my grade level. So again, thankful for that opportunity. You know, it takes educators like that out there to really spark that interest and keep people going. So thankful for those guys as well.
And any last advice, last words of wisdom?
Don't take this opportunity as an opportunity to not do anything. You know, I know a lot of people are kind of going, yay, I don't have to work. Whereas people like you, for example, are really taking the opportunity to work almost even harder to make music education important to their students and to other teachers. So do something important for your students. Don't treat it as, you know, just a lost semester, because there is so much more they can do. And the most important thing is keep them inspired, because if they're inspired, they will continue, and next year be even more motivated to catch up and improve where they are currently. So keep it up. You guys are in the trenches for sure, and thankful for all you guys are doing for your students. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, Sharon Toulouse, thank you very much for joining us on the Hey Band Network today.
Thank you. This is great.
Glad to have you as a guest. And you can find this video on the Hey Band Network YouTube channel under the Leadership Series. for that. And check out and like and subscribe to the Hey Band Network to see this video and other videos. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Have a good one.